Hey, welcome to Practice Yoga with Clarity with yours truly, Kenya Marsh. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a brief intro into who I am and what you can expect to learn from this mini course. So, let's get started. Back in 2014 is when I started my yoga journey. It was a little all over the place, but it took a while for me to discover my why. And I know and learned that once you've come up with your why, it is not set in stone. It's going to be something that you're going to change depending on what's going on in your life, depending on your progress, and depending on the interest that you have. My favorite quote that I love to share with my clients and students is that we all start somewhere. So I want you to start to think and recognize your point A. Here is going to be one of two images that I will be sharing with you as far as where my point A started. Then was, I would say, back in July of 2014, I was testing out my strength because I saw this picture on Instagram, I think, and I wanted to try it to challenge myself. And this was the longest I can hold the pose. It was really like 3 seconds, long enough for me to hold myself up to snap the photo. And I had my son do it for me, who was, I think, 4 at the time. And now fast forward to a couple of months later, I am able to lift myself up and I can hold myself in the same position, much stronger, more confident, and as long as I am able to. So I roughly can stand in that pose around 2 to 3 minutes, depending on what I'm working with, but normally really about 1 minute or less because I'm moving from posture to posture. But the key is to motivate you and show you that you can go from having a blooper or just this is where I am, an honest photo of what you look like in the pose you want to master or achieve. And then you have something to use to check and grow with. And that is what I'm going to help you with in this course. So I figured out what I wanted to learn first was how to do a split. And that made my focus on flexibility. Strength and balance all came as additional benefits throughout that practice, as well as when my reasons of practicing yoga has shifted. But in the beginning, I wanted to learn how to do splits. And I've learned through practicing yoga after some months that there's multiple ways to do the splits and learn and train and practice. So here is a standing split photo. Back in 2014, I just knew in my heart that I look like how I do in the now photo. But as you can see, that is not the case. Sometimes our minds can play tricks on us. We may feel we are looking one way, but in reality, it's not the case. The beauty of it is capturing those moments because that is going to be one of the key ways you can identify your growth. You can look at your photo journey of your starting point A and check back at starting point B and see that transformation. And this is where you build up your story. And this is where you build up enough momentum to continue to go and practice and increase your practice. But just know that any journey, especially this yoga journey, is a process. You will have ups and downs, and I want to just be the one to guide you and give you enough clarity to help you sustain through it all. So that leads me to my mission, which is to help you create your own transformation story. We're going to figure out your starting A. And I have a workbook that I've created to use along with this course that I want you to download. And you're going to use that from each lesson for the next couple of days. So what we're going to cover would be the intro, which we just did. So check. Next lesson, we're going to get into figuring out your why. Why do you want to practice yoga? I shared my initial why was flexibility and learning to do a split. Now it's going to be time to learn your why. And we're going to go a little deeper into that. The next lesson after that will be figuring out how to create a space in your home to do it. I did this all at home, and you're going to learn how to do it as well. And this is regardless of what schedule you have and how you need to achieve that. And that's why we're going to start with that first lesson. Going from there, you're going to figure out when is going to be a great time to do so. How long should you start practicing? And some additional advice for getting started. So, your assignment, if you choose, is to download your workbook. I highly recommend it and encourage you to do that because this is going to be a way for you to interact with this course and to really get your thoughts out. Having it in your head and just following along is not going to help you on the mat and off the mat. But really writing down, you're going to realize by the end, you're going to have a blueprint in place for you to use for your yoga journey. So if you're excited as I am, get that workbook and just write down whatever thoughts or reflections for today. And I will meet you back in the next lesson. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Hey, welcome to lesson 1 of practicing with clarity. Today we're going to get into discovering your reason for practicing yoga and just really narrow it down. This is where we're going to do some deep diving and we're going to do some journaling to unlock some of your thoughts. So are you ready? Let's get started. Today, I want to cover what attracted you to yoga, why are you practicing yoga, and what do you actually want to achieve? So let's go with the first of the 3. What attracted you to yoga in the first place? I want you to think about it. What sparked your interest? Was it social media where you saw beautiful pictures on your feed and it just dawned on you that you wanted to try it yourself? Was it a class you saw at the gym and you see a group of people practicing, having fun, and it looked quite interesting and it sparked your interest there? Was it a friend that you see who started their journey and you've seen their transformation and now you're ready to actually begin your own? Or did they invite you to a new class to try with them? Maybe at college you was thrown into a yoga course and you had no idea what to expect and you enjoyed it. Or maybe it rubbed you off the wrong way. So there could be different factors here. I want you to take a moment for yourself to think about what attracted you to yoga. Whether it was a book or whatever it is, I want you to think about it as we move through this. So the next thing I want to cover with you is, why do you want to practice yoga? Now we've thought about what pulled you in. What do you want to practice? Let's think about that, and I'm going to give you some key ways to maybe spark your thoughts. So common reasons that I've had from clients and students of mine was either strength building. Maybe you want to build or increase the strength in your legs or upper body or just your full body. Maybe you realize as you're starting to get older, you want to find a safer way to build that strength. Or maybe it's flexibility. Maybe you are tired not being able to reach your toes, or you want to be able to fold over without feeling any pain in your lower back, or you actually just want to challenge yourself and work on doing a split, which you probably never thought that you would be able to do. Or it could be simple as just increasing your range of motion. Especially comes in handy if you are a runner or you actively walk. That could be a reason that you would take that pathway. Or maybe it's recovery. Do you have any injuries that you're looking to heal from? You've got your exercises from physical therapy, and now you want to take a more gentle approach to build and your muscle strength back and recover so you can be better than ever. Or it could simply just be, maybe you just want to be less stressed. Are you looking to learn a better way to reduce stress? Are you a parent and your kids is driving you up the wall? Do you have coworkers or your boss at work, or just your workload in general that's just piling on and it's just stressing you out in a way that you are ready to do something about? And it could be many other reasons. Now, what I want you to do is to think about, what is your reason for practicing? We now know what attracted you to yoga. You saw it, you may liked it, you tried it once, it felt great afterwards, and now you're realizing you want to do something more. Maybe you want to be stronger, flexible, calmer, or just get back to what you used to be if you was flexible in the past. And the last thing I want you to think about, what do you want to achieve? So we know what attracted you to yoga, what drew you in. We know what you want, why you want to practice. It's to increase flexibility, for example. Now we know what do you want to achieve, because those general reasons have a deeper reason behind it. So let's cover some more to help you get specific. If you want to build strength, maybe you want to shift your focus for the time being on arm balances, where you want to be able to uphold your body weight and get your feet off the ground. This could be going into a headstand, going upside down in an inversion, using your core, strengthening your core, engaging your core. And that is how we are able to isolate your reasoning for falling into the strength category. Let's say the flexibility category was your why. Now, what specific parts do you want to increase your flexibility? Where is it going to be lengthening your hamstrings and working on your hip flexors, or opening your hips so you'll be able to achieve poses like hip openers, such as a half pigeon pose, or maybe a split. And other things fall into that category, such as a back bend. If you've taken my previous course or my other course, Discover Yoga, where we test out some foundation poses, you will have more of an idea on the visuals of it. At the same time, if you practice yoga off and on, you may be familiar with the names that I'm throwing around. If you're brand new to yoga, don't worry. These is something that I cover in another course and actually teach you how to do these. But for the sake of now, just to create a plan, I want you to figure out, what exactly do you want to work towards? Maybe you are going into the recovery as your why, and the reason why is because you want to reduce your back pain. You sit a lot, you're stuck in traffic quite often. You work a long time, many hours at your desk. And when you take your breaks, it's just rush breaks, because you're so focused to get back to work, you're not making time to stretch. Or you notice that after you work out, you're still feeling some kind of tension in the lower back region or your glutes. Or your wrists may need to increase in strength because of constant typing. You may want to work with creating that mobility there to avoid getting carpal tunnel. Or the last category, let's say it's to reduce stress, was your why. You want to be able to control your emotions. You may find yourself hearing from others that you're lashing out more often, you're more agitated. So now you want to figure out how to reduce that. How can you take control instead of releasing that powers to others and causing you to be defensive or to lash out on others? How can you heal from within? So I want you to now think about what specific thing, one thing that you want to achieve. This doesn't have to be something that is set in stone for the remaining of your yoga journey. This is just to get your foot into the door and onto the mat. Something that you can work towards as a milestone. So when this is achieved, you can come right back to this course and you can pick another category and then you can work from there. Because the beauty of starting your yoga journey or just picking back up your yoga journey is that it's endless. There's always something to learn. There is always something to heal. There is always some strength to improve and increase. There are just newfound ways to any reason that you would have. And as you progress on your journey, your reasons will continue to change from time to time. That's called growth. So instead of trying to jump and handle everything at once, which can make your practice overwhelming, let's just isolate it down to one thing that we're going to do first. And then we can come back and revisit to do it again for something else. So the reflection I have for you for this assignment is you can print out the workbook. If you haven't downloaded yet, please download your workbook. And I want you to go to the lesson 1. And there, I want you to answer those 3 questions. What attracted you to yoga? Why are you practicing yoga? And what do you want to achieve? If you need a refresher, just come back to this and just skip to those sections where you can get an idea if you need a little nudge. I will give you a personal example for me. When I started my journey, what attracted me to yoga was learning how to gently approach practicing. I wasn't too familiar with what yoga was, and I saw a video that drew me into a gentle style, which was hatha yoga. So that style is what drew me in because it was something that I could move at my pace. And that is something that I liked because I didn't want to, I know myself where I can really go overboard. And any time in the past I've done that, I've always ended up hurting myself. So this allowed me to really take a step back and slow down. Now, what I end up having for my reasoning to starting this yoga journey was to increase my flexibility. And the specific reason was to learn how to achieve doing a split. When I was young, back in high school, I taught myself then how to do a split. Just watching the Olympics, the wonderful gymnastics team that we had for Team USA, they inspired me when I was younger. And I never pursued any of that, no training. I was at home. And then once I graduated, put that out the way, got into the corporate life, years and decades passed, and I really kind of lost that flexibility. So yoga allowed me to tap back in to work on how to do it properly without rushing into it. And it took me 6 months. So that is my journey. And it has since changed every 6 months. Once I achieve one thing, I move on to the next, and I just build onto that. And that's my goal for you, is to help you create a foundation that you can build upon. So we're just going to clarify how you're going to get started, What are you going to work towards? And then you have a foundation in place to go from there. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. Other than that, I will see you in lesson 2. Welcome to the lesson on learning how to create your home yoga space. You want to keep in mind that simple is best. And to create your space, you need a space free from clutter, right? So you want to make sure that the space you pick in your house is the space that you have the most room to move about, right? Set your space in an area where there's nothing valuable to break. I know you may have seen some bloopers and yoga videos of yoga fails floating around on Fail Army and just YouTube in general, but you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that predicament. So, for instance, the space you pick, make sure you can add some pillows. So, if you are working on something that requires you to lift up your body and you fall, then your pillows are right there. You're not putting yourself in harm's way, right? You don't want any coffee tables around. You don't want to be by your TVs. You don't want to be by any end tables. So that is what you want to consider in the space that you pick. If the space you picked had these things, then I would recommend prior to practicing, you move these objects before you just get right onto the mat. So just remember safety first. If you're not sure where to pick, don't worry. So just to reiterate the tips I have, you just need enough space to move around freely without worrying about breaking anything in the process, right? Sometimes you have to make space for your space. Just remember though, sometimes you can lose your balance. So you want to at least pick a space with carpet and add pillows. If you don't have carpet, then another recommendation is using a yoga mat or getting an area rug that protects you from the hardwood. And then you can have either foam type of yoga mat or then just use your standard yoga mat of your choice. Also, do not use socks if you are practicing on hardwood because some certain postures you may slip. So you want to also be aware of that. So here are some places, and these are all the places I enjoy practicing in, and each space could be different depending on your own setup, right? So the most common space is the living room. This space is great because you can practice right in the middle of the floor. You just make sure that you are away from large objects like your TVs and glass tables. But you have the most space because typically your living rooms or family rooms are one of your biggest rooms in your homes. So that gives you a lot of room to move and flow and just allow you to freely have open space. The next space that you can pick would be the bedroom. This is another ideal place to practice because you can actually use your bed and walls as a prop. So, depending on your bedroom setup and your walls, as long as your walls is not loaded with pictures or you don't have bookcases and stuff against one of the walls in your room, that could be a great location, right? If you have a foot bench, a bench that you put at the end of the table, you can use that. This is great for lots of postures that you can have fun with in a safer way. This bedroom space makes it a little more intimate. So some poses you can do right in your bed which this is before you get out of bed or help you prepare to have a better sleep at night. There's so much options with the bedroom, and that's why it's definitely my second choice as well. Another space would be the backyard. So this is especially nice on a sunny day if you do have access to this, because you are getting fresh air, you're getting that energy from the sun, you're getting vitamin D from the sun, you are amongst nature. The thing is, if you have a lot of neighbors that are close by, depending on your house setup, it might feel awkward at first, but this is a way to practice without distractions. And again, remember, this is your yoga practice. This is your journey. Doesn't matter who is watching, because you are working on you. And who knows, they may even want to join in on your yoga session as well. But the beauty of it is when it's not too hot is when you want to practice. You don't want to practice in the dead of heat, so you are sweating and you're uncomfortable, and that could be a distraction. So this is great if you're able to practice in the morning or in the evening. So that way you've missed the peak of when it's too hot, and those times you would be more comfortable and you probably don't want to leave after you practice. So if the backyard is not an option for you, then a park would be the next best thing. The only thing is, it may be such a chore to get out there, but whenever you can get to a park, have a friend tag along with you and just pull up one of my yoga videos and just get to practicing with your headphones on. And again, having that space just gives you that extra energy boost if you can get out whenever you can. Next, we're going to talk about setting the mood. But before we get there, I do want to add another space just popped in my head is a basement. If you have it, whether you have this basement fully furnished or not, that could be another designated space. Think about your dedicated yoga space. There's those terms called man cave. So this could be your own cave, your yoga cave, right? This is where no one could come down to bother you. And again, typically a lot of the basements have a lot of space and room to move. So that is another space you may consider. Okay, now let's get into setting the mood. So you have your space that you've picked. Now, to make it a welcoming space, you want to make sure you just check on the mood, atmosphere, and distractions, right? The MAD. So your mood is your candles, your lighting, and your scents. So depending on what time you're practicing, to me, you can use candles any point in time of the day, as long as you are in the same room. But lighting, so if you're practicing in the mornings, then let that natural light come in. Turn off the standard lights and just use the natural lighting. That is always great. Also add some scents. So this is where you can use some oil diffusers, you could use incense, you could do what you want that will boost your senses other than your sight, right? So we're tapping into all of those senses, and this will definitely take your yoga space up a notch and the mood of your practice. Next, your atmosphere. So this is where you want to add in like plants, you want to add in pillows, you want to add some color pops. So favorite artwork or statues, these will be great things to put into your atmosphere. So for example, me, I love crystals. I have crystals around. I do have some of my elephants because I love elephants. Lots of benefits of having elephants in your home, and plants, real plants. But if you are unable to take care of your real plants, then fox plants are the next best thing, right? But having that green pop in the background also helps with the atmosphere of the space, the aesthetics of your space. Lastly, is distractions. This is very important because you want to not have any distractions that can cause you to get hurt. So if you have pets, this is the time to put them in their crates or their pen, right? Or maybe because if you send them to their bed and they're never used to seeing you exercise in front of them or do yoga in front of them, they're going to be leaving that bed trying to lick you in the face, sniff your rear end, whatever, and it's going to distract you. However, if you put them in the pen, they can still watch you from there, move freely, but you can move freely. Same with kids, let them know they can sit and watch you, they can join you, or you can just tell them, go play, go read while I'll do this, and then we could get back to whatever we're doing or you like to do. Phone, you want to put that on do not disturb or silence unless you, if you're using your phone to play music, distraction free, because I always love using music with my practice. It just goes hand in hand. You can also use this phone if you don't have a laptop to follow along with the actual yoga flows that this lesson would have or other lessons or videos that you're watching. And that concludes today's lesson. So I do have an assignment for you that I will need you to complete. There is a workbook. If you haven't downloaded, download it now. Answer the questions, which is just planning out what you're going to use for your mood, what you're going to add for the atmosphere, and how are you going to eliminate your distractions. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Hey, welcome to your next lesson, What to Practice. By now, you would have discovered why you're practicing, whether you're trying to gain flexibility, build strength, recover from an injury, reduce your stress, and any other reason you have discovered. And we've also discussed where you should create the space in your home to show up and practice. What space did you pick that you will make more inviting for you to just feel driven to go to that space and get onto the mat? And today we're going to discuss what to practice. So the reason why I set it up this way is, and emphasize so much on your why, is once you know why you want to practice, it's easier and more beneficial to then figure out what to practice. Because if you don't know why you're practicing, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be dabbling into a lot of different things, trying to discover what path, what lane you want to get into. Sometimes it can be overwhelming because there are so much traditional styles of yoga and there's so much new branches of those traditional styles as well for your selection. And if you're on YouTube trying to figure out where to start and not having a concrete idea on what you're trying to do with your practice, can also feel daunting. So now that we know why you want to practice, I'm going to give you some options and some ideas on what styles you can pair to help you have a starting point. Okay? So yoga styles is going to be based on that why. If you don't remember what you picked, you can always go back to your workbook and your notes and figure out what did you select. Now that you found out what you want to practice and what you want to achieve, let us look at what styles you can use to help you. Now, I want to let you know that there is no right or wrong style, and I encourage you to try different ones. But before you do, at least try one for a few weeks before you just jump into another. Because if you're going to different styles, it's going to be harder to be consistent, and it's going to be harder to find your progress. And it's going to be difficult to really know what you're capable of if you're just not even allowing you to get accustomed to something new and give yourself a chance to work with it. Okay? So, there are a lot of styles for every need. It is best to explore these styles and teachers as well to find one that resonates with you and that matches your goal. Over time, you're going to get so comfortable with a style that, or 1 to 3 styles, and you might find yourself easily just creating your own style. That's the beauty of yoga. You make it work for you. At a certain point, you're going to get to understand your body, your movements. And once you're tapped into your moves, you would know what you need to do that day to help you through that moment. Okay? And that's the beauty of it. And then you will end up finding yourself, who knows, like me and many others who end up teaching those skills because it's a natural skill that you build over time. Nothing happens overnight. And I just wanted to re-emphasize that. So the first style, and one of the top traditional styles, is known as Hatha yoga. Okay? Hatha is a double meaning. If you look at the HA for Ha, that's the sun, and the Tha is the moon. And together there's a union, right? Think of yin and yang, your wholeness. It's like not focusing on one or the other aspect, it's bringing you whole. This is a great discipline to get started, especially if you are a beginner, because it allows you to ease in and to be gentle with your body, become more in tune with your breath, and move at a steady pace. You will get the benefit out of going through these flows because you will focus on the holes. You're not going to jump from one pose to the other. So if this is something new and you haven't figured out or you understand or are familiar with these postures, then you'll get to allow yourself to gradually build up that knowledge. Up next, another style is hot yoga. So if you want to get into flexibility, then practice in a place where the heat is very warm, then this will help you and your muscles open up. And the beauty of this, and this is known as Bikram yoga, it consists of about 26 poses, mostly, and 2 types of breathing exercises. It is carried out in a very warm, heated room, which temperature is around 105 degrees, and the humidity in there is about 40%. This is a great environment that will help you detox and open up and help you feel loose. A lot of folks that I've spoken with who've done hot yoga always recommend hot yoga as well because the feeling that you feel once you're done. And it takes a while to get used to, like 1 or 2 classes or so, but it is something to try out if you do have it in your area. Um, so you want to also just be aware that if you have any type of cardiovascular health issues, I would recommend you speak with your doctor first just to see if that's going to work out because that extreme heat could have a downside for certain health issues. So you want to just be aware of that before you try it. Okay? Now, if you're looking for strength, then there's the traditional, which is like Ashtanga. So power yoga, you may have heard, used around in gym studios and certain dance studios when they offer yoga classes, and online. But it is styles that are built with a lot of strength focus. So you're going to focus a lot on your upper body. So if you're looking to build that upper body strength, overall, full body workout, burn a lot of fat, then you also will be working with handstands, facing your fears. Power yoga is great. This is something that you will be pushed, not really pushed, but challenged to be in sync with your breath with lesser holds, constant movement. So you're going from one to the other because you're syncing with the breath. As you breathe one way, you exhale your one way, and you're learning how to move. Now, if you're not a beginner, it can throw you off a little bit because the pace might not be what you're used to. So you can always mix and match. You can spend a month doing hatha yoga, which gives you the full body workout in a steady, slower pace. And then if you're really looking to build up, at least that's going to prepare you to take a power type yoga class because one, you'll be a little familiar. You would not feel like a baby deer learning how to walk, trying to move and keep up with those around you. It is a great style, and many styles under this umbrella like rocket, trap, or anything, they have some upbeat music that you would move to get you in a zone. This is something else that you can practice. And again, this is a great style to build up strength and to burn fat. I always recommend going this way because it's a upbeat pace. And there's many others, but these are like the top 3 you have, right? So which one will you choose for now? The beauty of it, 2 of these you can definitely practice at home. Your hatha yoga will fall into the category anytime you would search up gentle yoga, vinyasa yoga, and younger yoga, which is using a lot of props, yin yoga, restorative yoga, and hatha yoga. Those classes are your gentle, smooth flowing, relaxing classes, but you will still get a good burn. But you're going to open up your body and you're going to have that more connection because you're going to have a different focus, right? Hot yoga is when you are out, and this is great. You can take a group of friends to learn, to grow, to get used to specific poses in a heated environment where you're going to burn a lot, you're going to sweat a lot, and you're going to feel loose. It's definitely another style to try. And then there's power yoga. You can do this at home. Remember, in the create your space section, just make sure you are going to be doing this in a space free from clutter. That goes for any of these styles, but you want to make sure you have yourself enough room. And that will fall into the category. You can look up Ashtanga yoga, you can look up rocket yoga, you can look up trap yoga, bhutsi yoga. There's so much that can fall into the power yoga category. So strength, anything with the power yoga. Gentle and restoring and beginner level 1s, start with hatha. And then you can branch off from there the more you get used to it. All right. Another thing I want to just talk about is the calm method. This is in regarding finding an instructor that can resonate with you. You want to make sure, as far as with the calm method, the C is communication. Do you feel comfortable communicating with your instructor? Do you feel that they are open and receiving? Do you feel that this instructor provide assistance that you feel you need? Does your teacher assist you? Does your teacher assist you with your form when you're practicing? Say if you have a virtual coach, are they letting you know, work with this, try this, adjust here? Are they helping you make mental notes? So eventually they're empowering you to be able to practice on your own. So that's something you want to keep in mind, right? Are they prepping your mind and body before and after you practice? Because yoga is not just the physical. It's not all about postures and asanas. It's breath control, and there's so much more, because there's this energy that we're moving around and we're building and we're releasing. And sometimes you need to prep your mind before and after to take it all in. And the L in calm is listen. Does your teacher take the time to listen to your feedback concerns? Are you able to email or have a means to reach out to them when you have an issue that you might need to change? Which leads to the M method, modifying. When you find that there is a challenge based on how you are structured, does your teacher allow modification? Do they allow or recommend use of props, or do they discourage them? So you want to take that in mind when you're searching for a yoga coach or yoga teacher to help you on your journey. This instructor, I don't know why I can't say this word, your instructor should be able to empower you, because at some point you may need, or things may happen where you may not be able to pay for the rest of the package, or you may come to the end of the term of your package and you feel confident to move. You should feel confident that you can practice on your own and, take a class under different teachers once in a while, just to spice up your practice. But if you go on vacations and some of those things when you're home, you should be empowered and confident enough that you can do this internally as well. So I wanted to share that with you as far as what to look for. So to wrap this up, your assignment is to use your workbook. Go to the section for what to practice and write down which style or styles you want to work with and why, because it should match your why. And that way you're building up your blueprint. So I will see you next into the other lesson as far as how long you should practice. So I'll see you back in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hey, welcome to the section where we discuss how long you should practice. By now, you would have had an idea on why you're practicing, what are you trying to achieve, where in your home you're going to practice, what are you going to practice. And now we are going to talk about how long this practice should go. So typically, it varies, right? And when you're leading a busy life and you're squeezing in something new, it can be quite a challenge. The good news is you decide how long your practice lasts. Not me, you. So there's a myth that a short practice cannot be effective. And that I can definitely say is not the case. It comes down to a couple of key things. And that is something we're going to discuss. You don't have to practice for 2 hours. It is beneficial if you can. And unless you're attending a workshop where you paying to be there for that long period of time, ideally you may not have that free time every day. And to build a routine, you want to make sure you are practicing the same time every day. Um, or in my case, I can say what can also work is picking 2 to 3 days a week, the same time, and showing up for at least 30 days. So for 1 month, 4 weeks, pick 2 or 3 times a week that you can practice. And how long you practice comes into your free time. The time that you select will feel long regardless when you are putting in the right effort, right? So you can have an effective yoga session under an hour. The key is your intention and your effort. What you put into your practice is what you're going to get out. If you're going to show up on the mat with just 10% drive, then you're only going to get 10% results out of that, if that. If you show up with 110%, all right, for the next 15 minutes, no distractions, I'm going to show up. Then that 15 minutes will be as effective as any other. It comes down to structure, right? So there's many ways you can do it, but what I found helpful is one is holding a pose, right? In order for you really to reap the benefit that yoga, asanas, postures have to offer, is to stay in that pose for a bit, right? That's where you want to have the intention to focus on holding and focus your breathing to be synchronized, right? The longer you hold the pose, the more you're going to allow your muscles to open up. There is no benefit just flying through your yoga pose because you're short on time, because your focus is going to be more on time than your actual movement and the actual connection and harmonizing. You're going to skip all of that and you're going to come out not feeling no different. Maybe a little energetic for like a little bit and then back to feeling sluggish. Okay? So when you show up, however, that you're going to embrace that pose, you're going to breathe into that pose. If you only have 15 or 20 minutes to spare twice a week, you can make that 15 to 20 minutes worth your while. Okay? So here are going to be some helpful tips. You want to start off with 10 minutes. If you only have 10 minutes, then I recommend doing it 5 days a week, right? So that means for 5 days, you've invested 50 minutes a week into your practice. You're doing the same poses, 10 minutes each day. If you have 15 and 20 minutes, you can increase the holds. You can add on 3 new poses to a specific sequence that is going to help you build a routine. It's all about having a routine and building a healthy habit. So you can start off with 10 to 20-minute routine, repeating some basic postures, and then you work your way up building. Once you start noticing how you're feeling, oh, I feel great after this, and that carries you through half the day, you can do another section before you go to bed, right? To help you sleep longer at night. This is handy if you have trouble going to sleep. I've had students who struggle because of their hectic schedules that they only have time to practice before they go to sleep. And sometimes they will struggle sleeping long, but after doing the postures and the meditation together, they slept longer than they have for a while. So that is another thing you can do. You can do 10 minutes in the day, 10 minutes in the evening, and then, you know, 2 weeks later, 15 minutes in the day, 15 minutes in the evening. Repeat that. The more days you do it, the more muscle memory you're going to build, and the more it's just going to be a natural habit to where just like how if you like to have your coffee and you're so used to you can't get through without a cup of coffee, soon, the more you do this, you won't be able to get your day going without getting some yoga in, right? So, first thing is to kickstart it. And I always recommend start off small and simple, and then we build on that. It's all about creating a foundation first. The stronger that foundation, the longer your practice will last, the more you will be able to be consistent, the more you will want to show up. If you're trying to just start practicing and you jump right for an hour practice, you're going to end up being inconsistent because you're going to find out you don't have that free hour every day to show up. You have it sometimes to show up. And if you show up sometimes, That sometimes will go from once a week to once every 2 weeks to once a month to I forgot when I practice. It's been a while. So instead, you definitely have 10 minutes somewhere. You have 15 free minutes and you have at least 20 minutes. There's so much things you can get done in that time. And you can show up every day doing exactly that. The next tip is going to be holding your holds. To get the most out of each pose, you want to hold them for at least 30 seconds, right? Work your way up, staying in your pose for 8 deep breaths. Taking your inhale, filling in those lungs. Exhale, let it all out. Repeat that 8 times and then gradually increase to where you're not worried about time. You're worried about the breath because the key and the focus is connecting your mind and your body at all times. Gradually, that 30 seconds will turn into 1 minute, and then that 1 minute will turn into 5, and then you will lose track of time because you are so present in the moment, working on yourself. You won't be worried about any external outside events. The next is your breath. Don't hold your breath, especially if you're going to add a challenging pose into your practice. You want to remind yourself, you could just say to yourself as you're moving through, inhale and exhale. Keep your focus on your breath. Just telling yourself to do it is very helpful. So that's something you want to integrate as well. And the next tip is your pace. There is no need to rush. So if you are short on time and all you can spare is 15 minutes, you max out that 15 minutes at a steady pace. Don't try to rush through it because you can put yourself in a situation that you can possibly injure yourself. Pace yourself, take your time, connect with your breath. The more you do that, the more you'll be able to do, the more you will be able to have stamina. You're building up your stamina gradually. You're building up this connection where you're going to realize your breath has been out of sync with your body. So we're trying to reconnect that. And when you start with focusing on holding and breathing, every time you take an inhale and you exhale, and then use your imaginations to really feel what your body is doing as you inhale and as you exhale. Feel the difference when your body is inhaling, how your muscles react, and when you exhale, how your muscles feel. This is how you build up that mind and body connection. And this is that intention and effort. So no matter if you have, sometimes I really have, like, I want 5 minutes before I have to do some errands, and then I can come back later on in the day to put in my 45 to an hour practice, but my 5 minutes I can make feel like 15. And it's just doing something that is known as a sun salutation, right? And if you take my or have enrolled into my Discover Yoga course, you will notice where we build up and I show you some key sequences for arm balancing, for just stretching out your back, for just warming up your entire body, helping you build up to a longer course, but you can use those bite-sized mini courses as your daily practice. So I even show you how to do that in my Discover Yoga course. If you are interested in learning, please look out to enroll into that, and you will find that very insightful and practical, and you can get started today, right? So the other thing I want is to let you know my sip method. Sipping. The first part of the method is the S, which is for start. You need to start somewhere. I always recommend use few poses, start with those, and then gradually add on one new pose a week, right? You're going to have a beautiful practice. You're going to be more consistent, and you're going to surprise yourself and see progress as you follow that process. Start with a few, focus on connecting with your breath and holding, and then add on a new pose a week until you feel you have the right number of poses that put you in that right number where you want to be, and you can eventually build up longer practices that way. The next is your intention. Apply your best intentions and effort into each breath you take, into each pose you do, because each pose provides so much benefits to you. And if you embrace it and you allow yourself to breathe in and adjust and to surrender into these poses, the intention will seep out. It will start to cover you in those benefits. You'll start to radiate the more you do it. And of course, there's practice. Practice, progress. We're not trying to have a perfect practice because that's no such thing as a perfect practice. Even their top yoga instructors in the world still practice. Every one of us have to practice. It's a never ending journey. We are all lifelong students at the end of the day. So we're just at different stages of it. And if you have that mindset that you're just starting and you're going to keep going, and there's always something for you to learn, and you're going to be a student for life, the possibilities are endless. The progress will show up, and you don't have any outside competition. Don't focus on what you're seeing on social media, trying to keep up with that, unless you're inspired on how you want to set things up and move. But at the end of the day, it's you in the mirror. Just watch yourself, be yourself, do for yourself, because you are unique and so is your journey. There's no one yoga journey alike because there's no one human alike. We are all unique and built in different ways, move in different ways, have different abilities, and that is what you need to embrace. So just practice for you, practice for showing up, and practice for achieving that why, right? You're practicing for flexibility. I'm going to show up 10 to 15 minutes working on building up that flexibility. I'm going to work with gradually touching my toes little by little. I'm going to work on using things I have around the house to help me achieve that. I am going to show that intention at the end of the next 6 months, and you might surprise yourself much sooner than that, but you're being realistic. This is what I look to achieve. Once you get there, oh, it's just so much joy. And then you're going to change up your why and move into something else. That's the yoga journey that you're going to experience. As long as you practice your progress and you'll just get started. No more holding yourself back. So, your assignment to wrap this up is to look at your schedule. Based on that schedule, what time do you have to spare? How much time do you have? How much free time do you have to invest in your practice? Do you only have 10 minutes a day? Do you only have 15 minutes a day? Can you split up that time in the evening and in the morning? Look at your calendar and then jot it down. And then we're going to go into the next lesson as to when you should practice. So we're going to build this schedule for you and create this blueprint. So you would now have a structured starting point to embark on your yoga journey. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hey, welcome back to another lesson with your professor and yoga coach, Kenya Marsh. By now, you know why you are practicing and what you're trying to achieve, where you're going to practice in your home, what you're going to practice in your home, how long you're going to practice. And now we're going to tie that into when to do this practice. So you can always adjust your length of the practice based on when you can practice. So today we're going to just work with discovering when that is. There is not a set time to practice yoga because it's based on your schedule. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. This all comes back to you. I can't really tell you what to do. You need to know what you can do. There are some basic guidelines that I will share with you that you can follow to help you pick a dedicated time that is right for you. And that's what this lesson will unfold. So, to view these guidelines, you want to make sure you can practice free from any form of distractions. Whether you have pets, you are at a set time, your dog ate already, they went to the bathroom, so you can put them somewhere where they're going to be safe without your supervision. And then you can focus on you instead of worrying about the pet trying to get into something. Or your young child, maybe it's during nap time, which is how it started for me. I did it around my son's naps. So you want to practice a time where you can focus on you. You don't want to practice when you are fatigued or sleepy. So if you get up in the morning and you notice that you are very, very tired, you're not going to really function right away. So I would recommend probably going a little later in the day, because you want to be aware of what you're doing, how you're moving. There's some simple things you can do to wake you up, but you want to keep that in mind. You don't want to do like a full practice when you're sleepy or you are very, very tired. You don't want to do that because your muscles is already tired. And if anything, what you will probably do best would be some type of restorative yoga. You want to practice before you eat or wait at least 2 hours after eating before practicing yoga to avoid any indigestion or gastrointestinal discomfort. Okay, so here's some time frames and ideas. In the morning, if you're an early riser, then you can do this. Give yourself at least 15 minutes to wake up and then practice. There are some things you can do right from the bed. So when you practice during this time, it's great to help you generate some energy to get that boost you need to kick off your day. If you are pressed for time, you can just do 5 to 10 rounds of sun salutations. If you're enrolled in my Discover Yoga course, we actually cover these salutations and I show you how to do it and modifications to help you as a beginner. So that is something you can do. You can also just do like 5 poses in your bed before you roll out. A few cat and cows, stretching your arm, leaning side to side, connecting with your breath, and touching your toes, all before you roll out of the bed. Midday is a great time of day where, if you recall from the what you can practice section, power yoga. So this could be your power hour or your 30 minutes, depending on how much free time you have during this window, right? So this could be during the time your child is napping, during a time where you have a long break. You can squeeze in a good 30 to 90-minute routine to really get the most out of your practice. This is a great time to build up strength and increase your focus to help you carry on the rest of the day, because you are now well awake and your muscles are too. So this is where you can do your challenging sections and you can focus on something based off of your why, the key poses that you need to do to achieve those goals you're looking for that we just talked about in lesson 1. Okay, then we have the evening time. So depending on your work schedule, this probably would be the free time you have after you've prepped dinner and whatnot, depending on you have a family or it's just you going solo. This is a great time where you may not feel rushed. You don't have any appointments to get into. You don't have to worry about trying to beat traffic to get to work or any of those things if you work outside the home. Everybody else is taken care of. Now you can take care of yourself. So you can practice this time to help you de-stress from a long, hectic day. Get time away from the computer, typing all the time, sitting for long periods of time. This is also a good time to relax and rest for the day. So this is where that restorative practice I mentioned, this is a good time to get into that, right? Decompressing, slow holds, gentle yoga, things along those lines. You can do a good long yoga practice with some nice soothing music or following some sounds, some soothing sounds like waterfalls, rain, and all of that to help you in a relaxing state. or some nice smooth R&B. There's several different ways you can do to help you decompress and get yourself ready for bed. So those are a few ideas that I have for you. You can always mix and match, especially as I mentioned in the how long you should practice section. If you find out based on your schedule that you need to practice a little in the morning and a little at night, you can mix and match, right? So my question to you, which one will you choose? Will you be practicing in the morning to start your day? Will you be doing a midday to boost your strength and your focus? Or will you be going with evenings to relax yourself, decompress, and you can just free flow without feeling rushed? Or will you do all three? It is entirely up to you. So here are some things, part of the assignment that I have for you for this lesson. I want you to look at your phone calendar, your work calendar, all your calendars, and I want you to look at where you have the most free time, okay? And then based off of that, I want you to pick 2 dedicated days. Now, if you only have 10 minutes free time, I want you to pick 5 days. And if you have a little longer, then let's just start off with 2. From Monday through Tuesday or Tuesday through Monday. And then in step 2, I want you to set a dedicated time that you will practice during that time. So is that going to be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, a whole 60 minutes? That's the time you need to put in, right? Next step, you're going to block these times out on your calendar for the next 30 days. So I want you to have it set on repeat. So you're going to get your reminder, set the reminder 24 hours ahead, or so you can mentally prepare. Yep, I got yoga in the morning, or I got yoga in the mid morning, or yoga before I go to bed. So you won't forget. This is another way to be accountable, to show up so you can practice and build that consistency. And that leads to the last tip. Stay consistent with these dedicated days and times. You can always add more time if you want to maximize. You can always build. If you're starting off with 15 minutes, you can increase it by 15 minutes. The key is first to get your body in a routine, get your mind in a routine. And remember, focus on the breath and body connection. All right. So your lesson, use your workbook and go to the section, when to practice, write down what is your dedicated days, session, and duration. If you want, you can also put that into the accountability group. So let's keep everyone accountable. Let's support each other. All right. I am so glad that you completed this lesson, and we only have one more to go. Can you believe it? We're just moving along. And it's been a pleasure up until this point, and I look forward to you in one more video. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the end of Practice Yoga with Clarity, with yours truly, Kenya Marsh. Today I'm going to share some advice that I have for you to help you get started before you roll out your yoga mat. One thing to keep in mind is yoga is very helpful for uniting the body and the mind. It has proven health benefits, including emotional and physical improvements. Here are some tips when practicing yoga, especially at home. The first one is you want to move at your own pace. Don't worry about trying to keep up with the instructor. The more you practice, the more you will be able to naturally increase your speed. You don't want to hold your breath. This is all about connecting within, and especially with your breath. Yoga is beyond just physical asanas or postures. It is harmonizing and uniting the body and the mind and the spirit. So to establish that, you want to connect with your breath. Tune in and be aware of your breathing, how long it is and how short it is. And when you move from pose to pose, work with in your breathing in and breathing out, your inhales and your exhales. The more you practice, the more it becomes second nature. In the beginning, it can be challenges here and there, and naturally, you might just react automatically without thought on holding your breath when doing certain postures, especially if it's new to you and your body. But that is the time to be aware of when you're doing that, to self-correct and get back to breathing. The more you breathe through the process and your practice, the more open you can become, the more progress you can make. Another one is to take breaks when needed, especially when you're following out instructor videos from either videos from myself or from other yoga instructors. If that pace seems a little too fast for you, pause it, regroup, get back in tune with your breath, and then come back in when you're ready. Because at the end of the day, this is your journey for your body and your mind. And you don't want to force yourself. You don't want to move in a way that is too uncomfortable for you. And you don't want to jump too far ahead, because yoga is your journey. It is a process, and you will learn your patience. You will get challenges here and there, but the beauty of it is only temporarily, and everything will fall into place as long as you stay consistent. Also, you want to make sure you practice clear from distractions. That means if you have pets, put them somewhere where they won't be in the way so you won't hurt them or yourself. Make sure you have a free and open space. Make sure your phone is on silent. Make sure you let others know that it's your time to practice. This is time you're investing into you. They can give you a little room. Put your kids somewhere where they can be occupied during your time, your practice, so you can focus on you and your breathing. And last, practice for progress instead of perfection. If you chase perfection, you're always going to be looking from a critical standpoint and looking at all the things you may do wrong. When you practice with progress, you will see that and understand there is always going to be room for improvement. There is no end to anything. You may feel you master a pose, and then when you find a new class or course, you realize there's another way to access it that will challenge you once again. It is an endless journey. And even the most experienced yogi is still learning and is still a student. So keep that in mind, that even though you are new to this, it's going to be a non-stop ride. The path is endless, and it's up to you how you carve it and how you move through the bumps as they come along. Tips on using your breath. You inhale when you lengthen, and you exhale when you deepen. Here are some examples of those. When you're going to inhale, it's going to be when you enter a pose, when you're going to lengthen the spine, when you're going to lift your arms, twist in the upper portion of your torso, expanding or opening your chest for back bends, and a few others. You're going to exhale when you're going to lower down into a pose such as a chaturanga or a low plank, or when you're going to be bending forward or backwards, when you're going to, or forward, when you're going to twist your lower back and to expand or deepen into the pose. And one last thing. Before you roll out to the mat, I want you to ask yourself the following question. Are you prepared to commit the necessary time you really need to get the most out of your yoga experience? Because you remember this. This is your journey. And this is something that you are investing to be the best version of yourself. This experience that you're going to have throughout your yoga journey is truly priceless. But only you will sell yourself short if you don't treat it as important as anything else for your health, your mental and physical aspect of you, is just as important. So it's time to nurture that, because part of your yoga journey, and most of it in my case, is your experience depends on you. The only one that can get in your way is you. So make a commitment to yourself that you will not be in your way, and that you will put your best foot forward, and you would move at 110%, because the return on that investment is greater than you can imagine. So I hope you enjoyed this whole course, and now it's time for you to take it to your mat. You can cue up your favorite video, but I have a nice bonus for you. I have a mini flow. It's only 15 minutes for you to follow it, and you can go ahead and view that video in the next lesson or lecture. Thank you so much for joining me in this mini course. I hope you now have the clarity in place. You've completed your workbook, and now you know when you're going to practice, how long you're going to do it, what you're going to do, and where you're going to do it. Thank you so much for your patience and your efforts. And stay tuned. I will be releasing another course where I will be walking you through the origins of yoga, as well as taking you through foundation poses from different sections and working up to create a full length flow. So stay tuned for that, and have a wonderful day. Hey there, this is Kenya, founder of Simply Fit and Curvy Yoga. Today, we're going to get into a mini yoga sequence that is great for all levels, but it's also going to help you create some movement for your body and could possibly provide you some boost of energy to get started for your day. I'm going to walk you through a series of poses. I'll provide options throughout the practice. We're going to warm up, work on some balance, make our way down to the floor, and then cool it down and bring it back to the breath. Okay? So if you need to, you can pause this, play some music in the background, any music of your choice, and then meet me back here on the mat. Welcome back. So I want to start with just warming up the body and the joints. The pose that we're going to be repeating every time we do this sequence is going to be your foundation pose. And here, all I want you to do is stand tall. This is where you set your foundation. This is where you ground yourself and plant your roots, right? So think of your energies just driving through the earth. And then you're going to lift the knees up to engage your quads. From here, I want you to draw the navel into the spine. And then bring your hands to your side. Stand up nice and tall. Think of a nice long spine. And just breathe. Take your breath in through your nose with this inhale. Exhale out through your nose. Repeat 3 more times. 2 more. And 1 more. All right. Now inhale through your nose. Exhale, look to your right. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale to the right. Inhale back to the center. Exhale left. Inhale center and exhale here. Inhale, shift your gaze up to the ceiling. Exhale, shift your gaze towards your chest. Inhale, 1 more to the ceiling. Exhale, back to the chest. Inhale to the center. Now shoulders. Slightly bring them up to the ears and roll back. For 2, 3, and 1 more. And relax. Now bring them up towards your ears and roll forward. For 2, 3, And last one. Relax your shoulders, core stays engaged. Now inhale, lift your right arm, extend it out to the side. Exhale, bring it across your body and take your left hand, pull it in to give you a nice stretch all along this line. Good, inhale. Exhale, lower. Other side, inhale, lift the left. Exhale, bring it across, pull it in with the right. Exhale, lower. Now for the wrist, right hand comes out front, right palm down, and then left palm up. Switch left palm down and left palm up. Onto the hips. Let's work with some movement for the spine. So we're just going to stand hip width apart. So you can place your hands on your hip, shift the weight forward, roll to the right, and just bring it back to full circle. 3, 2, and last one. Switch, bring it around. 3, 2, and last one. Come back to the center. And now we're going to just work with the ankles. So I want you to shift your energy into your left heel, slightly bring that right foot out, and small circles. Good. Change directions. All right. Rest your right foot down, shift the energy to the right, lift the left, and small circles going out. And then bring it in. All right, so I'm going to just create some heat for the body. So I'm going to just do 3 postures that's going to warm up the body. And then we're going to take it up another notch for our warm up with a dancing warrior sequence. And now I'll walk you through all these steps. So I want you to stand with your legs together, straight, long back. Inhale, you're going to lift your arms till your palms face each other, belly drawn in. Gaze straight ahead. Exhale, place those hands on the shin. Don't lock the knees back. Keep a soft bend. You want just a straight back. Belly in. Nice inhale here. Gaze at your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Plant your fingertips or palms down. Step back to your plank. Holding here. Good, inhale. And exhale. Gaze between your palms. Shoulders and wrists and elbows should be in line. If you need to, you can move your hands in. Now inhale, shift your weight back. Don't worry if your heels can't touch. Belly stays drawn in. Your gaze is at your knees. And take note of your rotations. If you're rotating inward, slightly bring it out so your knees is just facing forward. And here you can do some bicycles. Warm up the ankles, bending in each knee, breathing in and out as you move. Let's take 2 more reps. All right, inhale, bend your knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step back to the top. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, lower. Now we're gonna just do that 2 more times. So inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Move at your pace. If I'm moving too fast, follow your breath. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees, fingertips or palms down, step back to the plank. Nice inhale. Exhale back into your downward dog. You can always bend your knees if you want, keep it here. Or you can add an extra stretch, work your calves, come up on your toes, lower down your heels as far as it can, and repeat 2 more breaths. Keep gazing at your knees and keep your core engaged. Inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, fold. 1 more. Nice inhale. You should start feeling your body heat up already. This is just a boost to warm you up. Inhale back into your downward dog. Here you can just shift your hips side to side. or go back to your bicycles for 2 more breaths. All right, inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, rise. And now lower your palms in prayer. Bring your hands to your heart. So now that we've warmed up the full body there, we're going to continue with that by adding in our dancing warrior. Just 2 rounds. We'll walk you through the next set. We'll walk through each step and then just do a second round moving just with the breath. So back in your mountain pose, stand tall. Take 2 breaths here to reset. Take another. All right. Inhale, lifting the arms back to your upward salute, palms facing each other. If this is too much, you can just bring your hands, cactus arms out to the side, okay? So from here, exhale, you're gonna step back with your right leg, pulling your right foot at 45-degree angle. Notice the hips. You wanna tilt it forward. You don't wanna bend the back leg. Notice the left knee. The knee is over the ankle, okay? Here, arms up or out to the side, depending on your shoulders. Palms facing each other. Then exhale to the right. Don't worry if you're not straight yet. As you do this, you would know you're stretched out, you're even on all sides. Here, I want you just to flip the left palm, gaze at your fingers. Inhale, we're gonna reverse back, keeping your left knee bent. Exhale, let's just rest out, elbow down here. Right hand overhead. Feel that stretch. Don't lean, just stretch out. You should have a nice line coming along the side. Inhale, back to your warrior 2. Exhale to the front. Inhale, step forward and stand. Now we repeat on the other side. Inhale, lift the arms, belly in. Exhale, step back with the left foot, 45-degree angle. Inhale here, gaze forward. Exhale, rotate to the left. Flip your right palm, gaze at your hand. Inhale, take it up and touch the back of your left leg. Exhale, rest on that right leg. Stretch over. Inhale, back to warrior 2. Exhale to warrior 1. Inhale and rise. Now we repeat for 1 more time. Just move the shirt. All right. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, step back. Inhale here. Exhale to the right. Inhale, flip the left palm. Exhale, reverse back. Inhale, take it down. Exhale, overhead. Inhale, rise. Exhale to the front. Inhale, step and stand. Last one here, belly engage. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, step back, gaze forward, palms facing each other, or you can do your cactus arms. Inhale, exhale to the left. Stretch out your arms, gaze at your right hand, flip the palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior back. Exhale, rest on that right thigh. Make sure the knee's not over the toes. You can move your toes forward to adjust. Inhale, back to warrior 2. Exhale to warrior 1. Inhale, step the other. Beautiful. So now you should start feeling that heat really generate in the body. So from here, you've warmed up your whole body and your hips. Let's go with some balance. Pose today we're going to work with is tree pose. We're going to go with 2 rounds and let's see if we can hold for up to 5 breaths each time. So I want you to shift the energy into that right heel, kind of like we did when we did our ankle rotations. Drive your energy into that heel. Use the ball of your foot and your big and pinky toe. So all 4 corners of the foot is engaged or glued to the mat or your ground. Next up, let's pick levels. Level 1.5 would keep your toes down and your heel is above the ankle. If you're feeling this is fine and you're balanced, then you can go to level 1, which is simply placing your heels, your left heel over your right ankle. Belly stays engaged, right? Core drawn in. Level 2 It's just bringing it up a notch. My foot is not on the knee. You don't want to place your foot onto your knee. So your heel is right below the knee. That's going to be your level 2. Level 3.3 would just be taking your left hand and your ankle and holding your foot. Now here could be tricky, so you can find your balance. You can work with letting your hands extend that energy up as you stand tall. You can keep supporting that foot or bring the hand to the heart. If you feel balanced, you can let go and hold. All right, so now that we know all the levels, let's pick one. For this, I'm gonna go with 2 for today because my pants is a little slippery. You can do the same, or you can just hold that foot. So let's go ahead, shift the energy to that right heel, lift your foot, draw the navel in. You can go with hands at your heart, arms out to the side, or extend in the air. Pick whatever feels comfortable. If you're going with this extended option, just make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Let's hold for 5. If you need to take breaks, you can just work like this and jump back in when ready. 3, 2, 1 more inhale. Exhale, lower. Beautiful job. You're going to feel that in your heel and your ankle. You're using your right muscles. And the more you do this, if you wasn't able to make it up to 5, come back and keep trying and working on it. Over time, you will be able to increase your holds with steady strength and balance. All right. Now let's see where you are with the other side. Again, picking your level. Find what position that works for you. And then pick your hand placements. This side, I'm just gonna just keep it low. So hold for 5. Another trick, if you still find that this is happening for you and it's getting frustrating, stand against the wall and do it. This way the wall is holding you up for support. You can focus mostly on your breath and gradually work with moving away from the wall. All right. 4 more. 3, 2, 1 more inhale and exhale. All right, so now that we've got through some balance, let's go ahead and work our way down to the floor. And to do that, we're simply just going to, you can just bend your knees and lower down, or find a way that works for you. Now we're going to start wrapping this up a little bit, but I always like to stretch on the floor before we get to the end. So I want you to extend your legs out, hands at the side of your hips, shoulders over your wrists. This is your staff pose. It's going to help you with posture. So if you sit at the office a lot, this is something you want to practice doing in between to just keep you from hunching and curving. Okay? Same goes if you look at the phones a lot, you automatically are creating curvature for that neck gazing. So this helps you realign your neck and your spine. All right, so you see where my wrist is going to be under my shoulders, toes is flexed. I'm going to hold here, draw the navel in, making a nice straight L. Holding here for 4 breaths. 3, 2, and 1. As you exhale, relax your arms. I want you, before we get into the next seated fold, just adjust your thighs out to the side. You can do the same with your tummy. Now inhale, lift the arms. Exhale and fold. This is where you know how far you can go. If you are having difficulty reaching those toes, that's okay. Start up high. Just go with the side of your knees or the back of your knees. The key is not to round, so you want to arch. Another tip, you can pause this video, Grab some throw pillows, place it under your sitting bone to give you some lift on those hips, and then give it a go. All right, if you have a tie or a strap, you can place it on the side of your feet. Use that to gauge how far you go. Now once you're in position, we're going to hold here for about 5 breaths. So I want you to gaze at your toes. Toes point towards your body, heels point away from your body. And you want to breathe. As far as your stretching motion, you want to tilt your pelvis. You're pushing your sitting bones back as you are sending that pelvis bone down towards your thighs. And breathe. Gaze at your toes. Take your breaths nice and slow. Don't force yourself into any pose. This is when you got to start learning to build a connection with your breath. All right, 2 more. And 1 more. Okay, inhale, rise. Let's go ahead and just bend the right knee like we would in tree pose. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale and fold. Good, inhale. Exhale, gaze at those toes. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. And 1 more. Inhale, rise and switch. Extend the right leg, bend the left. Nice inhale. Exhale and fold. Good, inhale and exhale. 3 more breaths. 2. 1 more inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Let's go for another subtle hip opener, the butterfly and or bound angle. This, you're just going to bring your heels together. You can take your palms, fingertips point away from the body, push into the ground, and let your feet fall down naturally. Don't worry about getting really low to the ground. If you're high up here, that's okay. Over time, you will create that openness. Just work with where you are and breathe. Slightly gaze up to the ceiling, holding here. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. All right. Exhale and release. Now, I want you to go with the wide angle. Here, we just want to do some toe taps. So just reach for your ankles or your toes. For 3, 2, and last one. Come to the center. And now let's work with the fold. This is going to create openness for the inner parts of your thighs, your hip flexors, and you're going to start working with your increase. So don't worry about trying to get your chest down to the floor and getting low. Work with where you are. So you can just bring your hands close to your body, lean forward halfway, feel the stretch. You're going to feel it along the lines. And you know automatically if your knees bend, that your hamstrings need a little extra love as well. So if that's the case, you can bring your legs a little closer instead of out so far. This is all about just learning your boundaries for right now and how you can work with inching them and increasing your flexibility over time. Another option, you can curl your hands down so your elbows touch. And if you're feeling really flexible, just crawl as far as you can. See how low you can go until you can breathe. And we're going to hold wherever you are for 5 breaths. So I want you just to gaze at your fingertips and breathe. Keep your toes flexed. Two more breaths. Good inhale and exhale. Another inhale and exhale. Inhale, bring it up. And there you have it. So bring your legs together. You can shake it off a little bit. I want you to lay onto your back. Stretch out your legs. And relax your hands out to your side. First thing, flex your toes towards you. And then point them away from the body. And relax. You can let your feet fall out to the side. Next, squeeze your glutes. And then release. And now, push your belly out. Relax. Draw the navel in. And relax. Make two fists. And relax your hands. Bring your shoulders towards your ears. And relax. Give me a big smile. You got through your first time, or you got through your warm-up. And relax. Squeeze your eyes really tight and just relax. Keep your eyes closed. And this is where we're going to shift focus to our breath. Here, I want you to take a nice deep inhale. In through the nose, let your chest expand. And exhale out through your nose. Let the air release all the way down from the belly. Repeat 4 more times at a slow and steady pace. So inhale. Exhale. 3. 2. And 1. Now place your left hand on that heart of yours and your right hand on the belly. I want you to bring your focus to the power of your heart, your inner strength, your unique rhythm. Tune in to the pace, the beat. Feel it against your hand. Now feel the power of your breath continue to flow around and throughout your body as you take 3 breaths here. And your power, your energy that you're generating is creating a nice smooth flow, powered by you. One more. Remind yourself of this affirmation. I am powerful, because you are. You create power every day that keeps you going. So it's something you should remember and express gratitude for, because you are amazing. Now rub those palms together. Generate some heat for your hands. Place them over your eyelids. Take a deep breath in. And release. 2 more. Inhale in through your nose. This time out through your mouth. 1 more. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. And there you have it. So, great job. You got through today's session. Hope you enjoyed this mini flow and you felt a little boost, or you were able to relax and tune in for some self-care. And you can always meet me back on the mat